Hey guys, welcome to another video. For today's video, I'm actually talking about a crossover event that you can either buy on DVD right now at most of your local stores, or you could also rent it at your local Redbox vending machine. It's unfortunately not available on Redbox On Demand as far as I know of, but it is available at local Redbox vending machines for those who are interested in eventually seeing this or renting this special I'm about to talk about. It's a Warner Brothers crossover event where Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog. And I guess what interested me so much in seeing this and reviewing this is when I was younger, I was a huge fan of Courage the Cowardly Dog. I watched Cartoon Fridays as a kid on Cartoon Network. I was a huge fan of the original original lineup of Cartoon Network shows back in the day that were original to their network. I was big on Dexter's Laboratory, Ed, Edd n Eddy, all that kind of stuff. And so the fact that there was a special that's made recently where Scooby-Doo's characters meet the Courage the Cowardly Dog characters really intrigued me in watching this special. And I think it did just come out recently here in about mid-September of this year of 2021. But in this special, you guys, the Scooby-Doo gang, as usual, crack another case right away at the beginning of the special. And Scooby-Doo is kind of distracted by this sound that dogs only seem to hear, but not humans. And the sound eventually leads him to Nowhere, Kansas, where Courage and his family live. And Courage is kind of experiencing the same things. It's like this weird sound that makes dogs dance up and down, and there's really no explanation right away as to what exactly is happening. But for whatever reason, the dogs are not reacting to the sound very well of the Nowhere, Kansas area, which also attracted Scooby-Doo for whatever reason. And so, as the special progresses, we find out about this huge swarm of bugs that are happening in the area and how they might be connected to that sound that brought Scooby-Doo and Courage together right away within the special. We also see a series of events where the Scooby-Doo gang and Courage's family is invited to a dinner event that the mayor of Nowhere is hosting. And so we kind of find out what that's about and why the mayor acts really suspicious during this event, and why there's so many like characters that depict previous Courage the Cowardly Dog villains over the course of that show when it was on the air on Cartoon Network. And over the course of the story of the special, the Scooby-Doo gang is trying to figure out what exactly the sound is, why it's happening to dogs and not people, what exactly the swarm of bugs is about and how it can be stopped, and why the mayor is acting so suspicious and how he might have a connection to all these weird events that are happening all at once here in Nowhere, Kansas. But overall, guys, I really enjoyed this special a lot. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of that original Cartoon Network lineup from back in the day. Like I said, I was always watching Cartoon Fridays as a kid, and watching Dexter's Laboratory and Ed, Edd n Eddy and Johnny Bravo, and of course Courage the Cowardly Dog and everything like that. So to see those characters meet the Scooby-Doo characters was just really interesting to me. And it was really cool that they were able to make this lineup and this crossover event happen like this. But for my positives and negatives of this Warner Brothers crossover special, there is a ton of Courage the Cowardly Dog Easter eggs and nods to the show that you're going to find while watching this. Tons of nods to previous villains and characters that showed up throughout the series. You see Freaky Fred and the guy where it was like, come see Flan to see Flan and all that other stuff. Mr. McQuack, I think, shows up here, and same with Cats, the cat, and things like that. So tons of fun Easter eggs to find in this. Just a really fun, special crossover event to watch if you're a huge Courage the Cowardly Dog fan like I am, or once were from back in the day. This is also a really cool and fun concept. While watching this, I kind of realized to myself, I'm shocked this special didn't happen earlier. I'm sure it was a copyright thing. I'm sure there was a whole thing with John R. Dilworth, who created Courage the Cowardly Dog, and how they had to get the rights to have a special made with him and the Scooby-Doo characters crossing over with each other. They're all owned by Warner Brothers, so I am a little surprised once again that this took so long to get made. I think the final episode of Courage, I think, was aired almost 20 years ago, so I am a little shocked that it took this long for this special to happen. But it's really cool to see. Like I said, it's a really fun concept. I think they really brought both worlds together, and it is cool to see a concept of two shows that are so alike with each other finally cross over and meet up like this. This is also pretty funny in most parts and really out there. Just a lot of stuff, as you can tell by the plot synopsis of this, that it's a really out there kind of special. They really just kind of go for it. It's a special where maybe on first viewing and at first glance. Maybe certain things don't make sense right away. But kind of like the Scooby-Doo show and the Courage the Cowardly Dog show, I feel like it's kind of in the spirit of both shows to do something like that. There's also a really fun, I can't really spoil what it is, but look for a music video that involves the Eustace character from Courage the Cowardly Dog. It's very much in the spirit of Eustace. I think they did have to find a different voice actor for the character because I think the original voice actor has since passed away since the show got taken off the air. But whoever they found, I think the guy who currently voices Bugs Bunny voices Eustace in this. Whoever they found to make this work, I thought really worked out really well. And like I said, look for a music video that involves his character. It's a lot of fun to watch here. For my negatives of this special, though, the third act of this is extremely random. I think this special runs for about an hour and 18 minutes, I want to say. So it's really not very long. But like I said, the third act is very random. It's just kind of, hey, let's do this, and let's do that, and let's do this, and let's do that. It kind of felt like a concept development meeting in a boardroom somewhere of any idea was a good idea, and let's just kind of go with it, even if it doesn't make any sense at all. So I thought the third act of the special was kind of random, didn't make a lot of sense, and it was just kind of all over the place, to be honest. Also, after a while, there really isn't much of a mystery to solve here. I think this is kind of a running problem that's happening with Scooby-Doo over the past couple years. Is I can tell Warner Brothers wants to use Scooby-Doo still in a lot of their properties, but for those who saw that 2020 Scoob animated film, even that one too ran into the problem of you can tell they kind of want to stick with the mystery solving thing, but they kind of don't want to do that anymore at the same time. So I think it's one of those struggles where they're trying to figure out how to make it work with a modern day audience. And you can kind of tell in this special as well, along with that old Scoob movie from 2020. There technically, quote unquote, is a mystery to solve here, but the more the special progresses, the more that's kind of pushed to the side, and it just kind of embraces the craziness of both shows and bringing them together and making it about artifacts that can manipulate the universe and all this stuff that really kind of unfortunately doesn't make a lot of sense. But like I said, it is kind of a bummer that it does start as a mystery for the Scooby-Doo gang and it just kind of gets pushed to the side the further this special goes on. So I thought that aspect of the story was kind of disappointing from an adult's perspective. And for the most part, this is pretty much just for the fans. If you like Scooby-Doo, if you like Courage the Cowardly Dog, I think you'll have a fun time like I did. You'll like how both shows kind of crossed over with each other. For those who don't know anything about either show, I think you can kind of skip this one. It really is not for people who are outside the fan base of both shows. If you really don't know anything about Courage, if you really don't know anything about Scooby-Doo, this really isn't quite the special for you, unfortunately. It really, like I said, is for the fans, so it's really too bad they couldn't have had a cool third-person perspective and intrigue to make people who maybe aren't a big fan of these shows interested in a special like this. I also didn't like how every member of the Scooby Gang felt really smart in this. I'm not saying I don't like. I'm not saying they should have made the character stupid or anything, but I didn't like how there was a lot of moments here where the Scooby-Doo gang felt as intelligent as Velma was, and Velma's kind of the most intelligent character of the Scooby-Doo gang, because you'll see what I mean when you watch this. There's scenes where I kid you not, Daphne is about as smart as Velma is. There's moments in here where Fred is as smart as Velma is, and there's even parts here where it's Scooby and Shaggy who are kind of the most lovable but most dumb members of the gang are almost as smart as Velma is in certain scenes too. So I didn't feel like they really kind of gave each character their individual traits that made them notable as they were over the decades. I really would have liked to have seen Daphne be Daphne, Fred be Fred, and Shaggy be Shaggy, as well as Scooby being Scooby, without all of them making feel like they had to all be Velma. Just me personally, I would have just liked to have seen Velma figure everything out and have the Scooby-Doo gang do all the things that we're normally used to seeing them do, rather than seeing all of them being smart and doing things that all feel like they're Velma Part 2.0 and things like that. So that aspect of the story I thought was a little disappointing and kind of unfaithful to the Scooby-Doo show overall. But overall, I would give the special an 8.5 out of 10. For those who like to go to their Redbox vending machine still or willing to pay up the money to kind of get a physical copy of this on DVD or Blu-ray, I think it is worth your time and money. Especially, like I said, if you are a Courage the Cowardly Dog fan or a Scooby-Doo fan, I think you'll have a lot of fun like I did. Go into this knowing that it's not perfect. Like I said, some of the characters don't get the justice that they deserve. The third act is extremely random. The mystery overall of the story really isn't much of a mystery to solve after a while, and it really is kind of easy to figure out once you kind of watch it for a little while. And like I said, this is pretty much for the fans. So if you really aren't a fan of either show, I think you can just kind of skip it. It really isn't for people who aren't fans of this. But like I said, 8.5 out of 10. Really fun to watch. For those who like Scooby-Doo and Courage the Cowardly Dog, I think you'll have a lot of fun watching this special. Like I said, it is available to buy on DVD and Blu-ray now, as well as available to rent at your local Redbox vending machine. Thumbs up from me.